So welcome to our G Suite introductory course. The first thing you're going to want to do before we get started is download Google Chrome, which is just google.com/Chrome, not uppercase. And that's where you can click download, get there from your Edge or Internet Explorer, Firefox, whatever browser you might be using. If you don't have that yet, that would be a very important thing to do. And the other thing you're going to want to do is create a Google account. And you can go to gmail.com and create an account there. You'd say create new account for myself. And this is where you would enter all your information. So really important first steps before you dive into wanting to use G Suite would be create that Gmail account and then download Chrome. Once Chrome is downloaded, up here at the top you'll see my face. You would just see kind of an outline of a person there, and you would say sign in, and that's where you would hop on and get into Google. So the great thing about Chrome is you have your bookmarks all across. So if I hop on here on any browser, anytime, my bookmarks are going to follow, any saved passwords, things like that, all in my browser. Something about that though is if you are on a public computer and you log in and want to use that, make sure you log out when you leave, or right click and do an incognito window, operate in here, and you could still have all your bookmarks so you won't leave a trace of what you've done. Then you can log out there just to be safe. On public computers. Always a good idea. So I'm going to go through some basics there on how to add a bookmark. So just kind of an overview of using the Chrome browser, and then I'll go into Google Calendar and Gmail in a little more detail, and then I will show you just an overview of the functionality of a few other of the apps, and then we're going to have more G Suite webinars coming up, and you can learn more details about each of the apps or plugins. So, first of all, on Chrome, like I said, you log in over here. You can also hop on and say Manage People. This is where you could add another option. So I could have my work content here if I wanted. I'm just going to pick a little image and add it. Say turn on sync, and that's where I could add it's acting funny. Okay, I'm typing in my email. There it is. You can't see it, but it's there. And that's where I would type in my email and password, turn it on, and now if I hop up here, I have work or Elizabeth. So I can go down there and switch to my Autry content, or I can go up here and switch to me. I usually leave that off just so I can kind of keep my work and personal stuff separate, but it's a really handy thing if you did want to do that, or with family members or something. You could each, swap back and forth, and you could have your own bookmarks and content there for each user. So that's just kind of a nice perk. So let's say I want to add a new bookmark. I can go up here to whatever website. All you have to do is click this star, done. So now when I look at my bookmarks bar, it's not up there because mine is full, but I can scroll down here. This is where the remainder of bookmarks will fill up. And if I wanted to add it to the top, I could click on it and drag it right here, and then I would see it right there. So you can have tons and tons, limitless amount of bookmarks, but obviously only so many can fit right here, but you can control which ones you want right here at the top, so that's pretty nice. Another thing you might want to check out is in your settings. You can choose your default search engine. I have mine set to Google. You can choose down here on startup what you want to open when you start it. And then obviously here you can set your default browser. Mine's set to Google Chrome. I like to have open to specific pages when I start up my browser. That way every morning when I open my computer for work, I have Autry's dynamic system, I have our Blackboard, I have my Google search, and those key items that I'm going to want to have on there on startup. So that's just a nice thing. And then on appearance, you can change your theme, how things look, your font size, if you want them to be really large or really small. You can go in and add custom fonts even on your browser, so all that's just kind of fun. And then you can change your page zoom if you have trouble viewing. It could be nice to expand that. So those are the most basic settings that I could see someone using. Obviously, we could go a lot more. We could go a lot deeper into that. So in my last webinar, I had some questions about plugins. In Chrome, these are called extensions. So if I click here to my extensions, I can manage all sorts of Chrome extensions that I like to use. There are new extensions being built every day. I like the color picker eyedropper. That tells me the hex color for anything, and since I design websites, I use that a lot in my digital marketing. There's read and write for Google Chrome. That's good for education. It'll read your content for you. I have what font. It'll tell me what font someone used if I like it and want to use it. There's a Bitly plugin. That's your link shortener. I have an Acrobat plugin just to make PDF work a little more simple on Chrome. And your plugins will pop up or your extensions will pop in right here. So if I click on the color picker, there it is. And I can operate, if I was on a regular web page, and it's going to tell me all the details, RGB and hex colors, codes that pop up for that color. Exit out, and then I can copy that and paste it wherever I need it. So those extensions are really nice, but that's where you get to those. You can either go to Chrome -- extensions, or like I did, you can go to settings right there and click on extensions. So all those are just some general settings that you might like. I'm going to go ahead and hop into Gmail, which is just gmail.com. If you type in gmail.com, it will take you to mail.google.com, so that's why that URL is different, but same thing. So, some things you might want to know in Gmail. First of all, obviously your inbox is in primary. Divides it up by primary, social, and promotions, which is really nice. So when I get stuff from Nordstrom Rack and Jack Rogers, they don't flood my main inbox. Now on mobile, all of these tabs will be in one spot. That's the nice thing with the desktop, is that it does divide it up. If I starred something that I wanted to redress later, I can go over here and filter by just starred mail. It's going to show the things I filtered, I saved or starred. If I didn't mean to, I just click it again and it'll remove it. Obviously, just like any other mail service, you've got your sent and drafts. Now this is what I like, these labels over here. I can label something as important, whatever I want it to be. So let's say I want to label this email. I would click up here, that little thing, it looks kind of like a label or a ribbon. And I could put this in some category. Let's say it was a promotion. Apply it. Let's say I wanted to make a new category. I would still click that, click create new, and I could call this something, create it. And then when I go over here, I'm going to see things that have been tagged in that category. I can do that with bills, maybe work tasks, different things like that. If you're really having a hard time finding an email, I like to go to all mail. Right here, you can search your entire inbox, everything you've gotten. If you're not sure what category it dropped in, if you accidentally deleted it, if it went to your clutter, you can go here. Obviously over here in settings, you can adjust what your display looks like. You can go into some more details here. You can set up a signature. You can change your picture. If you wanted to apply a signature, you would click there. So now I'm allowing a signature. And I could just type my name and my email or my title. If I wanted to add a picture into that signature, I could hop on here, choose a picture that I liked, and it could insert it right there just like you would with any other program inserting a picture. You can also set automatic responders for certain days. So if I went on vacation, I'm going to turn it on for a week and say I will be out of the office with very little time to email, or whatever I wanted to say. Or I could put my cell number there and say text me if you have an emergency. And I could even say only send it to people in my contacts. This would be smart if you did turn on that auto response, because you might not want to send that to every, you're going to get spam emails and all kinds of stuff. So if you only want it to go to people you've added to your contacts who you know are valid people emailing you, that might be important. You can manage your labels here too, how you use those. You can manage these categories that I told you were at the top. You saw the primary inbox, the social inbox, and promotions. You can change that, you can remove, do all kinds of things with how many categories you have. On forwarding, that's where you would go into settings and click forwarding, and you could add a forwarding address. If you got a new email or something, you wanted to make sure all your old mail went to that spot or something, you could do that. So that's a pretty quick overview of Gmail. I'm going to discard those changes because I was just showing them as examples. Over here are chats and hangouts. I could start a new conversation, click plus, click who I wanted to talk to, and they have to accept that to chat, which is a nice feature because you don't want to just start sending people stuff. But once she accepts my invite, we could start chatting. So there's a little chat function on there if you ever wanted to use that. So that's just a quick run through on Gmail. I'm going to show you a little bit of Google Calendar. You can either get there by going to calendar.google.com, or if you noticed when you're over here in Gmail, there's a little calendar icon right there, and you can click that. It can pop up and you could expand it and go straight into the calendar. Either way, same thing. So when you create your Gmail account or your Google account, it's automatically going to create a calendar for you. So mine's right there. I do not use this. I use my Outlook and Apple Calendar, but Google Calendar is pretty awesome, actually. So what you could do is have a variety of calendars. It's going to give you some basic ones that are all different colors. And you could add another one by saying, I want to create a new calendar, that plus button, and I could call this vacations. Create. Created. So when I go back, I see vacations right there, and I can edit it and change the color and everything by going there and on those, see those three dots, oops, right here. I can choose to make it purple or anything. So I'm going to make my vacations that kind of yellow color. I can do that. So then I can add an event, double click, give it a title. And pick a time. I could say whether it repeated. Could give it a location. Say I want to meet at Panavina with somebody. And enter that, and it'll pull up that address, which is pretty cool. Choose when it notifies me. Choose whether I'm busy. I could add a description. And then over here I could invite guests. So let's say I want to invite my friend Debbie to have dinner. Do that. And then I save it. I'm going to remove that so she doesn't get a notification. And I can say whether they can see who else invited, whether they can modify the event, all that, and then I would click save. And then there it is right there on the calendar. It's grayed out because I have that it already happened. If it hadn't happened yet, it would be purple. And see how you can drag it around and change the time, it auto updates. Pretty handy. Furthermore, I can choose a different color if I want it to be on a different calendar. But whatever calendar I'm in when I create that is the one that it's going to fall under, so it just went under my general calendar, which is why it's that color. If I wanted it to go under a different one, then I would pick the relating calendar. Discard. If I want to share a calendar, this would be great for families who want to share. I could say settings and sharing. Again, those three buttons beside that calendar. That's where I get to that. and I can get a shareable link, or I can add specific people who I know have Gmail accounts. So if I get a shareable link and copy it, then I could just text that or email that to my family or friends who I want to share it with. And I'm sharing the Elizabeth Nicholas calendar. I could go down here and say I only want to share the yoga schedule with my yoga class. And I could get a shareable link and send it to everybody. If I wanted to make it available to the public, then that would allow them to send it to anyone else, and I could share it on social media and everyone could see my class schedule, but they won't see my personal calendar. They'll only see that calendar that I shared. So that's a pretty quick calendar overview. I think it's an awesome feature. And if we have a more detailed Google Calendar training, then I can show you a lot of the embedding options for websites and things like that. So we've done a quick run through of Chrome, Gmail, Google Calendar. I'm going to show you just a few other basic Google apps that you might like. You get to all your apps by clicking here, so you can also get to the Gmail, the calendar there. You click more, you're going to see a big run through, and they have even more than that. Let me show you a little bit about Google Drive, which we have an upcoming webinar over that. I can see all sorts of things here. So think of Drive as your hub for all the things that you create and manage in your G Suite account. I can sort by what I created, what was shared with me, what I starred, what I recently worked on, and all sorts of things. So think of Drive as just your portable flash drive. It's really easy to add content to it. I can either say new and upload a file, and then I just go select that I want to add that PowerPoint. Or I can go to my Drive and I can just grab that file, hover, and it'll load right into my Drive. It's pretty handy. If I want to share it with someone, then I can click on it and more actions, share, and then I can share that specific file either by entering their email address, getting a shareable link, and sending it to them that way. And here I can edit what they can do. Can they only view? Can they comment? Can they edit? Or can I turn that off where there's no link? And then I can copy that and send it to my friends, or again, I can just choose their setting here and enter their email and send it to them that way. So that's a pretty good Drive overview. Other options in Drive is if you go here, then you can access a lot more from Google. Google Docs. This is all I use. I don't use Microsoft Office really anymore. I use it at work, but personally I love Google Docs because I can convert it to a Word file and vice versa. It'll be with me all the time. So I can type in here, and if I share this document with a friend, then we can get in and both type on it and add comments and do all sorts of things that way. I can create an outline, so I can, if I call this a heading, then that's making that a heading. And when you make it a heading, it adds it to your outline. So if I did that and had a really long document, I could navigate it really easily with that outline feature. If I was sharing this document with a friend, I could click here and add a comment, and it would tell them that Elizabeth Nicholas said something, whether it was a correction. I've done this when I have friends edit papers for me. Title your document here, and it's automatically going to save in your Drive. You can click that and move it to a specific folder. Say I want to put it in my classroom folder, click it and move. Google Classroom's awesome, by the way, but that's a whole another different training in itself. We have some training on that actually in Learn Now, which you can get to by going to learnnow.autrytech.edu. So that's a pretty quick Drive overview. Again, there's going to be more specific training on Drive at a later date. Google Sheets is just your go-to. It's like Excel, your Excel, traveling Excel sheets. You can do all the same formulas and everything here as you can in Excel. It's a really good spot to manage your financials, maybe your task list, all sorts of things. I love it because all these have phone apps, and I can manage my finances on my spreadsheet, my current projects in Docs that I'm collaborating on with friends, all from my phone. Google Slides is your presentation feature, so think of this as Google version of PowerPoint. You can even do file import slides, and you can upload a PowerPoint itself straight in there and it'll convert it. And then you can collaborate. Again, you can have multiple people working in one PowerPoint from different locations and it'll all be saving changes live, so you'll see each other's updates. You don't have to just throw files back and forth. Love Google Slides. And then wherever I go, I don't have to remember anything but log into my Google account from that computer, and my presentation is ready to go. The last thing I want to show you is Google Forms. I just got there by doing New, More, and Forms, just like these other options here. And this is a great way to take surveys. So I could title my survey, fill up my questions, and it's pretty easy to just press that and add question. And then I can change my question type over here and fill up that form. On the responses, you're going to want to make sure you click that before you finish your form and click Create Spreadsheet. And that's going to send that right to my Google Sheets that I showed you earlier, and it's going to show who took your survey. So let's say I want to say name, write your name, and then I want to say that's what I'm going to call my survey. That's what I'm calling it. So then short answer would be name here. You can do that, and then I could say multiple choice. Ask my question. It's right there, and then I'm just going to get rid of that one. So let's say that's it. That's my survey. All I have to do is click. Okay, first of all, I can do send, type in emails and send it to specific people as an email here, and I can say they're required to give me their email address, which is pretty handy. I can include the form embedded in the email if I want to. Or I can just click this eyeball and copy that URL and send it to anyone, and they can take that form. So this is where incognito mode sometimes comes in handy when you're working on projects, is Google Chrome knows who I am, so I can't take the survey myself for results, but I can right-click and go into incognito mode, and that's as if I'm someone random not logged into Chrome. I'm going to paste that like I'm just somebody taking this form, and I can enter my information right there. And I can even ask for a copy of my responses and submit it. Sometimes it's going to ask some security questions, probably because I am in incognito mode right now. And you just go through those like normal. Normally, it does not make me do this, but I think it's just an occasional thing. You can also set on the forms not to allow multiple responses. Again, we can do a full webinar over Google Forms. So when I go over here, I see that Livy submitted her response in my Google Sheets. So it's pretty cool how fast the responses happen. If I don't want to go to the sheet, I can go to that form itself that's stored in my Google Docs, and I can look at the responses I've received and see what they said, and I can even see a graph showing the details. So I know those last ones over the Drive, Sheets, Slides, and Docs and Forms, all really fast, but I just wanted to give you an overview of the options that we'll have ahead in future webinars and online trainings. So that's a really quick run through of G Suite, and again, just stay tuned because we'll have detailed training on each aspect of it coming up, and this is just kind of an introductory module. Thank you.